We're zooming. We're live on Facebook and your Facebook, my Facebook. Where else?
LinkedIn. We're live to the world.
We're live to the world. Okay, here we are. And today is...
We're 60%.
6, okay, of a 10-day fasting adventure.
Yes.
I'm Michelle Oliver, and this is Lisa Michelle Zega, and the tree.
And today I brought a big cup.
That is the biggest damn cup. Excuse my cursing. My French. I've been practicing French. That's a huge cup.
I know. Well, it's really special because...
Definitely special.
My stepdaughter painted it, and it says, "Today I think I will just be happy." And we went to one of those, what do you call it? The pottery places.
Yeah.
And so it was a special memory, but she made this and she leaves it at our house, and I use it all the time.
I love great big cups. Although I've been using really tiny cups for coffee.
I drink my coffee out of tiny cups. Tea gets a big cup. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, and water.
Okay. And something else, which I'll tell you about later. Okay. So how are you with your body today? You look really perky and happy and good.
Here is my big, huge, celebration. I slept through the night, which previously, I was waking up in all kinds of pain with my back. I slept all the way through the night. And then when I woke up, I didn't really feel back pain, but I iced, more like preemptively. And so I had a pretty good day. And then I went on a 5-mile walk. And towards the end, my back started getting a little wobbly. Well, first I tried to walk my dog, and he's the one that got it started because he pulls at the leash. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, done. I'm not walking you." So he only got a mile. I brought him back. Huh?
So it pulls on your back.
Yes. Yes. Trying to get him back or whatever. And but anyway, so the back pain, it's not like it's completely gone, but I mean 80% difference, I'd say. How do we measure these things? But it may be even higher. My experience has been minimal. I'm grateful. I'm going to ice after our call. I'm just trying to do my part. But, I woke up with the most energy this morning. I woke up without an alarm, and my sleep was 7 hours. Normally I'm an 8-hour girl, but I'm like, well, I'm not going to go back to bed when I'm like, hello, and I wake up pretty chipper. So but I will say my stomach has had some rumbles that are like it's embarrassing out in public, and your tummy makes this like a
so I'm happy that you're going out in public.
Yeah.
You go out a lot.
Well, I decided, I walked my dog. I decided to go to church. I thought that I missed it so I went, and then I went out with a friend to hike for, and that was really great. Oh, and then my husband had a band practicing at the club. So I went and watched this band. They were awesome. It was totally fun. Rocked out for about an hour and then came home, and here we are.
So your energy is good. Do you feel like you're getting to a mental clarity that you didn't have before?
I think I'm still waiting for mental clarity, but what I will say is I do get spurts, like creative spurts. All of a sudden, I looked at my husband and I'm like, I gotta write. And, and then this morning I did a devotional, same thing. And I'm like, when I'm writing it down, I was like, where is this coming from? So I guess the answer is yes, but then I'm living like the normal, and I feel kind of, a little bit foggy, a little bit. So it ebbs and flows like the hunger pains. I just want to tell everyone that what I've learned from this, like a huge thing, is the awareness that your tummy growling, you're not dying. I'm not dying. There's not a problem. And I don't need to feed it because it makes a noise. And this is the weird thing. It literally goes away. Like, goes away. It feels like ravenous and then it's like gone. And for the most part today, I haven't experienced much desire for food, although the smells sometimes. There's some yummy smells out there from those restaurants. So, how about you physically?
Well, my physically is all wrapped. Everything is all wrapped up. I can't separate anything. This is my today. So, so I am physically, let's see, I worked out this morning. I slept really well. I went for a walk, and Sundays are my writing days. So I was anticipating like major focus and massive downloads from the universe so that I could just like do 10 times the amount of writing. But I went into weird procrastination mode.
Okay.
Very, very badly. And so that I know that's not physical, but yeah, I had a difficult day, honestly.
Tell me more.
So I'm drowning in shame right now because I got really tired. And then I was like, maybe I should just go meditate or like even take a nap, and then I'll just reboot and it'll be fine. Like it's a Sunday. But I couldn't relax. Like I was just tired, but anxious and irritable. And I wound up drinking a huge cup of, well, it's like not as big as yours, but of bone broth. And I was like,
wait, you've got shame over bone broth?
Yes, because it breaks your fast.
No, I don't remember our video. He specifically said, if you're in the latter part and you're finding it difficult, have some bone broth. It's like literally, it's not a problem.
I Googled it, like, can I have bone broth? It's like, technically it totally breaks your fast. Here's what I want to say about this though. And the reason I decided I really wanted to lie about it. I'm not kidding you. I'm a terrible liar, by the way. Like my face, I'm not very good at that. So I thought about it though. I was like, how could I lie?
Wait, you're human? Hold on. Quick note to the universe, Michelle Oliver. Human.
Yes, everyone knows that. It's blatantly obvious. But the funny thing, what I want to share about this is this has been a problem throughout my life. And I don't think I'm the only human being that goes through this. We make promises to ourselves. And for me, largely,
Michelle, I'm going to make one request.
Yeah.
Instead of putting it into the universal we, will you just stay with the I? Because that's really what is going to most represent you.
You learned this. Okay. Well, in business, I know that I am that brain of like constant ideas and doing a million different things. And so committing to one thing and seeing it through, I know is what brings success. And every time I win, that's how I do it. I say, I'm going to focus on this one thing through to the end, and then I will do another project, right? And it is sometimes very, very hard for me to do that. Like I literally have to turn on a timer and say, this is your, I do it in 20-minute increments, like we talked about. I'd be like, you're going to do 3 20-minute sections of just writing or just doing the emails or whatever it is. And for me, finishing 10 days really clean was more of a mental discipline than anything else. Like, that's what mattered more than anything to me, was to actually complete 10 days without letting it be okay to not do it the way I said I was going to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Absolutely.
like it's a terrible sin. I mean, it doesn't destroy like all the autophagy and all that stuff. But just the fact, the reason I gave in wasn't really hunger. It was more the emotions that came up when I was feeling this vulnerability thing, like where I was just feeling like there's no one to even talk to about this. I'm all alone, and I just can't handle it. I just can't, I'm not getting anything done. It was like all this negative stuff. And I finally—
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
What kept you from calling me, given the fact that we're in this together?
I knew I was going to do it anyway. To be honest, but here's what happened physically.
I just love that.
I know, I'm so ridiculously honest. Okay. But what I think I needed the minerals, because as soon as I drank it, I was calm. And I think that like the heart palpitations and that feeling of anxiety and stuff comes from not having electrolytes or enough salt or whatever. So I put a bunch of salt in it and slowly, it was amazing, by the way. Even though it wasn't homemade, I felt really calmed and nourished. But the last thing I want to say about this is, you had mentioned how there are women in the world that if they ship a teacup, they'll throw out the whole tea set or whatever. So there's a thing about that. Like what happened to my mind was, well, I've done that. What else? I might as well eat. And you know what? If there'd been any food in the house, I may have eaten it, but we have nothing. I literally, my son hasn't gone shopping, and I was looking, like we have like old bags of seaweed from Costco, and like some milk and some old, I don't know, just like nothing, no, like a bunch of frozen meat. So I didn't eat anything else, but I think, that could have happened. There's no crackers or chips or there's nothing easy to eat. And so that's important not to have that around. Anyway,
so may I just go down like a little—
I feel shitty about it, by the way. I really do.
I want to— perfect. That's actually the perfect preface for what I'd like to do, with your permission. First, I need some sort of acknowledgement that I've got your permission to ask you a question.
Sure, of course. I mean, we're live on social media with you discussing my shame around cheating on my fast. So I didn't think today would be, I thought today would be the easy day.
I know. Well, there's been a lot of ways that it was not as easy as I thought, and there have been ways that it was really great for me. But I think I had higher expectations than what my body delivered. But let me ask you this. I know, because you're human, that you've broken promises to friends or people, right? So anytime you've broken a promise, what have you done to clean up the relationship?
I mean, I don't I can't really think of it of instances of doing that. Like with my son, when he was younger, I mean, I just say it immediately. I just say, I'm so sorry. But I usually, it is a really big thing for me to mean what I say, do what I say, like don't especially I think in business, you just do. I mean, if I don't deliver something, I just apologize. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's make it right. But I can't really make this right.
How come?
Except in my own mind, which is what you
What
have.
if that's just a thought error? What if you could make it right? What if it was enough because you broke a promise to yourself? I mean, that's the bottom line. Okay. Well, what if you apologize and then you do the next right thing?
Well,
And you
and I did, because I didn't eat anything and I just went
absolutely.
back to work and I did my writing. But what pisses me off is that I'm not, like, my body is not responding as rapidly as it used to this. And so I feel like I'm cheating myself on the benefits
Mm,
overall. And I don't want to start over again, you know? I
yeah.
don't feel like start tomorrow and go day one. Like
Yeah.
that is what I went through with 75 hard, because I couldn't cheat because I had the damn app that would be like, hello, you didn't accomplish your goal. Did you cheat? Did you really? It was so terrible. Be like, okay, I'll start over. Yeah, I forgot to do this thing. And it's like shame, but I don't know. I'm not going to start over tomorrow. I'm just going to carry on. We still have 4 more days.
Yeah. And can you just carry on with the vigor that you
Yeah.
chose in the beginning?
Yeah.
Actually, Michelle, I want you to just think about because the normal and natural thing to do is blow it and then fuck the whole thing, right?
No,
But
yeah,
that's what, right? Like you
right.
even said, hey, if there would have been stuff in the house, and that's how our brain operates.
Exactly.
So imagine the kind of strength and fortitude and perseverance it takes, because this is what you're exemplifying.
Yeah.
I drank the bone broth. That was a broken promise to myself. I released myself from it and I'm finishing strong.
I totally agree with you. I mean, that is my point around business, is that this happens on a daily basis in
Yeah.
business, where you can't do it all. And then it's really tempting to say, well, just screw that. Screw that project. But the only way you ever win is to keep going, and the same thing with it's everything in life, right? Like at the
So
gym.
you're getting to apply these principles that have won for you over and over in other areas, and you're bringing it here.
Well, I'm just telling you, I didn't do what I said.
Yeah.
I
And you
just,
get to feel sad or you
it
get to feel
sucks,
pissed and you get
guys.
to let it go.
Yeah, I know it's not that big a deal. I didn't go eat, like, I don't know.
Actually, like it's a huge celebration that you didn't keep going
It
because
was
that's
it
right.
was too hard. I would have had to go out into the world and like go shopping or something. And then it would have been so obvious. Or I'd have to call my son and say, hey, when you come home, could you pick me up some
Chips and salsa.
Mediterranean? Yeah, I'm beyond the chips and salsa now. I'm not even hungry. That is the
No, I
real
know.
thing. Like this is the huge thing about fasting, is we don't need to eat all the time. Turns out we're supposed to pull on the fat stores in the winter time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's enough about all my drama.
Yeah, and it seems like before we leave this that you've softened towards yourself. What do you think? That
I've been okay with it during the day. I'm disappointed
yeah,
that I didn't. We're so close. It's like giving up really close to the finish line and then being like, well, fuck it, or screw it. I'll just,
I already fucked it once.
and then when you do that, you have to, can you imagine starting all over at day one right now? Actually, it would be almost easier.
Well, yeah, there's a sense, but in my present state, I'm like, no, because I've been counting the days. I'm like, I'm at 60%.
I know, 4 more days. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted,
Oh,
I wanted the $1 million of stem cells to come out of my bone marrow.
oh, I love that you sent us that video because it is such a motivation. Um, I do want to say that spiritually, and I touched on this a little bit yesterday, that I was really just like the rawness come to Jesus kind of moments and the honesty about things that I was not present to. I want to be real clear. It's not like I was like, oh, I don't trust God. It was, more latent and came up, and I've been able to confess that. So today I read the book of Ruth.
I
And
know. I heard
that's right.
I heard you reading the book of Ruth on Instagram. Not very many people go on Instagram and read the book of Ruth, but Lisa Michelle does.
I gave
It
an
was great.
overview.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was so inspired because the one very unique thing about the book of Ruth is God's not mentioned other than, the characters. I just got something in my eye. So, might give glimpses of like the Lord's against me. So I'll change my name to Bitter or whatever. But what blew me away that I don't think I had ever seen. So I'm constantly saying and believing that when we work on ourselves, we're actually benefiting the whole world. I don't know, the butterfly effect and all this, but it's a real thing,
Yeah.
even though it also feels kind of woo, right?
No.
So I'm reading the book of Ruth, and this woman who's feeling like dejected, and she loses her husband to death, she loses her sons. I'm not going to do the whole thing here, but at the end of the day, the story that she thought was for her destruction was for her redemption. But not only that, she ends up getting a kinsman redeemer, her property's bought back, and she gets a grandbaby. This grandbaby's named Obed, who becomes in the line of David, which is the line that Jesus comes from, who came to save the whole world. And it was like, oh, my mind was blown. Right there was a story about an ordinary life. There's a famine. We can't live here. We got to go try to find food. People are dying, famines. Yeah, like the whole thing. It's a whole series of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
No God to be seen. And yet God behind the scenes, not only doing good for this one human, doing good for the whole world. And I started letting myself imagine how my life is creating a ripple effect that I could never. She didn't know that her grandbaby was going to birth the Messiah eventually. We don't know. We don't know what our lives will bring. We know this small little snippet. And Michelle, and then, and then I went to church, and he was talking about how when Jesus is dead, the movement's over. There's no Jesus followers because there's no Jesus. And now what do you have? A bunch of people that are super afraid because if they killed him, they're going to kill us. We were the ones following him. And this resurrection story that all of a sudden gives them the boldness of the lions. And somehow that with the Ruth story, and I am weeping and weeping just thinking about my life matters and I can go out and risk it all because he lives and I'm going to live even if I die. Like it's all, and I don't know, something, I felt more alive to myself, to my presence, to my purpose, to my future, to hope in the world. Like I've really had a hard time to the point where you would not even think that I was a woman of hope or trust because I keep projecting where our world's going. And I've been making dire predictions about the future, and that has not been serving me. I got a little carried away there, but that's my spiritual aha. I'll leave my emotional one. I'm doing pretty good.
I think you can share your emotional one. I think that's great. Um, yeah, I mean, that's the truth
Yeah.
that everything that we're doing, I mean, this is the thing too. I don't know. I don't want to get into one of these really long conversations tonight. I mean, I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
But it is the message that who you are is very important. Like there's not one single, that's why every interaction, that's why everything is just a flippin' miracle. You can look at it that way and realize that we are always headed to possibility,
Yes.
or you can look at it as everything is not a miracle. I mean, it's really black or white for me. Like you're either, I mean, even when this thing I did today, I was like, well, I'm so grateful. I really was grateful that I had bone broth. That was a flippin' miracle. And it wasn't like outdated and hadn't been opened. And it was a, really good organic, like pre-made bone broth or whatever. So when like everything that happens or every person that you meet, everything.
Well, and one of the things I want to say back to the bone broth thing, when you're watching a movie, if someone's life and they just do everything perfect, it's a boring ass movie. None of us care. But when we watch the hero or heroine and they're going along and they've got a dip and then they rise from that, we're all cheering.
Mhm.
And and Michelle, I think it's such provision because we're not perfect. We're like normal human beings doing this thing, setting out on a mission, not knowing how everything's going to go for us. And there's a dip, and we get to witness, like I get to witness this woman who's like, I did that, and we've got 4 days left, and here we go.
Yeah, I did, and I'm not going to give up. I mean, every day is the hero's journey opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, well, I don't know. I just was really, I guess I kept having that chatter in the head, the voices saying, like, you always do this. You never complete perfectly. You always err. And I'm like fighting that battle in my,
Well, is it
it
true?
was, it was real. Well, I'm just telling you that we all fight these demons.
We
Like the war
all
is
do.
inside us, that's where it is. The doubt is the demon. Everybody, it shows up differently. And
But it
often,
comes in this pervasive thing. And that's why I said, is it true? Because we can poke holes in the
Mhm,
arguments that our thoughts bring, and our
right,
thoughts are not us. We know that because we
right.
can observe them neutrally, right? Like, so it's like we can reason with them. Is that true?
Yeah, that's the question
Right?
to ask. But that, to your point about like the subconscious, when you get to these points where you push yourself into new territory, those demons come up. The
Ab-
ones that you
it's
have,
one of the reasons to do these things so that we can
yes,
see what's living there all the time.
right.
This didn't create them. It brought them to the light.
Exactly. And it was just like, oh my gosh, that is still there. And then I was immersed in this battle with this same old thing that it's like, I think I've conquered, right?
Yeah.
So I think there are different levels of all this stuff. And then again, you can, whatever your mode of operation is, to like sit with it, feel it in your body. What I did was, I did a lot of bouncing on my trampoline and music and stuff just to feel so I would get out of that like
You changed your feeling state.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I don't know. Anyway, I was still embarrassed to talk about it for whatever reason.
Well, I think because you're human and we're, putting it all out there.
Yeah, we put it all out there for whatever reason. So there is a reason beyond what we know for doing this, and someone at some point will benefit. And
we've already experienced that, Michelle. We've already had
Yeah.
people reaching out and saying, hey, this really resonated. Thank you. So
yeah, we're growing.
And if there's one, there's more, right? It's always
Yeah.
that way.
Do you want to share your emotional before we go?
I think emotionally, I feel hopeful. I feel very hopeful, and I am sensing some kind of restoration is happening for me. And this has been hard and easy at the same time. It's been
it's weird.
It's a teeter-totter,
So
and I'm just grateful.
Okay.
I'm grateful that we're doing it together, and I'm grateful that we're doing it publicly because it has helped me in ways that we're designed for community, and we're working with the way our brain works. Accountability really helps the brain, and we're taking action. So we're also working with how the brain works. So like we're
it's
doing
really different to do it with someone in this way.
Yeah.
Where also something that's new for me is this kind of equality, where it's not like doing it with a trainer or like some expert that's like you're feeling like you're being evaluated. It's a really safe environment, to be brutally honest, and I don't feel like you're going to fix me or
you're not broken.
But you know what I mean.
Oh, I absolutely do. But I used to think I was broken and needed fixing. So it's like not broken.
That's just been my experience in the past. Like, I don't want to talk about we've shared this before. Like, I don't want to share what I'm doing because I don't want you to tell me that there's something wrong with me for doing that. I mean, often ladies tell me I'm not the only one, but we do like to fix each other and like help each other and like heal each other and like nurture each other. And all of that is great, but not all the time. So
no, it doesn't provide I really believe that we have what we need within. And we need to it works better, I would say, to provide this space for us to become present to ourselves rather than jumping in with, here's my thoughts, and so anyway, it's 5:33, but I love our conversations, and I don't know how to do a 10-minute one. I mean, I'm sure I do because I can manage a clock pretty well. I haven't wanted to. Let me just be honest and say I enjoy it in such a way that I haven't wanted to just stick to 10.
Yeah, and I think we're exploring it, and no one has to watch this. Like it's not, no one's being forced.
Plus, I love that you can double time things. Look, you can watch it in 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do recommend that anyone that's interested in this, again, we're not giving advice or anything, but to listen to that video by Dr. Amazing.
Pradeep.
Yeah, okay, Pradeep. I call him Dr.
Well, and then he's got a last name, and I need to because I think Pradeep might be the first name.
Yeah. Yes. Well, watch that. And then there's that really cool French guy. I have a crush on the French guy.
Okay, I went looking for it to watch it today. So will you resend it? Because I couldn't find it in our feed. And I'm like, I want to watch
have a crush on him. I mean, I very rarely am attracted to anyone. There's something about the French. And maybe it was the fact that he said you could eat cheese and drink wine at the end of your fast. Maybe I was just like excited about that novel idea. Anyway, I'm just playing around, but you have a good night.
You
And I will
too.
see you. Now, tomorrow we have like
It
double
is.
time. We're doing a 12:30 Courageous Conversations show.
Are we doing that live?
I wanted to ask you about that.
Well, let's do it offline, and then
Hmm.
you can call me or we'll text. But yeah, and then we'll figure it out. But what do we want to tell? Are we sharing with people? Or we'll...
So tomorrow's show, I'm thinking we might do it live.
Okay.
It's up to you.
I'm
But
open. You know
tomorrow's
I'm open.
show is about, we're talking about letting go. So what we're doing on Clubhouse every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time is a Courageous Conversations room. And within that room, we talk about the topic that we'll be talking about like on the next week. I think if I set it all up that way, I have to rearrange because we have some pre-recorded too, but it certainly doesn't hurt to premiere them both, do a live and premiere. So anyway, so let's see, tomorrow's conversation is letting go. And then our Clubhouse conversation on Tuesday is about trust. I decided.
I love it. I'm like, oh, good.
I just thought you might like that one. And I don't remember why I was inspired because I've already moved on from it, but whatever. So letting go tomorrow. And I think that's it. I feel like we have a bunch of things going on. Feels like a lot. And then we'll be back to do this at 6, which I think maybe we will keep to 10 minutes tomorrow.
Okay. All right. We'll make a commitment.
We've got all these other things.
Okay, beautiful. Have a good night.
That was amazing.
I will be on with you tomorrow.
For walking through the valley of shame.
Thank you for making amends with yourself and releasing it.
That's hilarious. Okay. Ciao, baby.
Ciao, baby.